I'm in Ushuaia, Argentina, the southernmost city in the world, on today's episode of Cruising with Eric. Good morning, cruisers. It's your friend Eric, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday the 28th of February 2025. It's 3 a.m. Argentina time, which is about 2 hours ahead of New York. It's not about, it is 2 hours ahead of New York. And I'm about to head over to the airport to catch my flight to Ushuaia. Wish me luck.
Here I am at 5 o'clock in the morning at the Buenos Aires airport about to board the plane. This was definitely a we're not in Kansas anymore moment, because you really don't see this in the States, where they put you on the bus and drive you out on the tarmac and then have to climb the stair thingy to get up into the plane. Otherwise, the flight was perfectly fine. And here's a picture of the Ushuaia airport. Very pretty airport. I like the architecture of it. And this was coming out the front door, and you're greeted by a view of the very southern Andes Mountains when you arrive in Ushuaia. Before I get into the photo dump, I just wanted to show you how far this is. We started in Charlotte, had a long layover in Miami, almost 7 hours, then flew all the way to Buenos Aires. I was in Buenos Aires for 17 hours, and then all the way down to Ushuaia, literally the bottom of the world. Okay, photo dump time. Here you can see some pictures of the mountains from Ushuaia. There's a cool little seafood restaurant that I walked by. This is the jaw of a whale outside this museum that I went into. And here's some other stuff, maritime type stuff on the outside of the museum. Another view of the mountains. I took a lot of pictures of the mountains, because you don't get snow-capped mountains where I live. Here's the prow of a ship inside this museum. And for me, this is a very small museum, but for me the most interesting thing was they had taxidermied examples of all these different birds. There's an albatross, and of course different types of penguins, and cormorants, and seagulls, and all sorts of different animals. And I thought this was really interesting that they had this much diversity here. And there's some more of the birds. And here we have some Andean condors. I saw some of them in the wild a couple days later, and I'll show you some footage of that when I make that video. Also, here in a minute, you're going to see some owls. And I was very surprised to see that both barn owls and great horned owls come this far south. I kind of figured they were North American birds, and you're going to see them in just a moment in the next clip. And there they are. Owls, several different kinds of owls, but I was especially surprised to see the great horned and the screech owl. The museum building had originally been a bank, so they had some of the bank stuff still in place. And here we have some skulls of some different types of seals. And then I went back outside and took more pictures of the mountains. And here's a picture of some of the cruise ships in port. That's the funnel of the Norwegian Star there on the left. And I should explain that the Star actually got in port that morning, Friday the 28th, even though I wasn't due to get on until Saturday the 1st, and the ship didn't leave until the afternoon of Sunday the 2nd. And that was intended to where people who were ending their cruise in Ushuaia would have a day there to see the port, or the people who were getting on board on Saturday the 1st would be able to have a day in port the next day. So the ship was actually there for 3 days. Pretty shot of the mountain up this street, even though power lines were in the way, kind of looking ugly. And of course, selfie time. And another pretty shot of the mountain near Ushuaia. And here are some busts of Juan and Eva Perón in the town square. They are still very revered in Argentina, and there was a stray dog walking around. And here is a memorial to the Falklands War. Very realistic looking statues. It indicated it was the 40th anniversary when they erected this particular memorial. And just random pictures of the street. was a Hard Rock Cafe, of course. I found it interesting. It might be the southernmost hard rock in the country, I don't know. Person in a penguin costume across the street. So many stray dogs. It was so sad. This guy was a very good boy. And these guys were just sleeping. The one on the left kind of looked like coax, the same coloring. Made me very sad there was so many stray dogs. I went on a bus tour. It was like a $20 bus tour around the town. Took us out and got some pictures of the mountains. It's just a really beautiful place. It's an amazing place to see. And if you had asked me a month ago, I could not have told you what the southernmost city in the world is, much less how to pronounce it. But here I am, very fortunate that I was able to take this trip and see this very distant place. And of course, there's the obligatory selfie. And a person on the tour took my picture for me. So that was helpful. Of course, I've got my bag of souvenirs in my hand. Got to get refrigerator magnets everywhere I go. And here's a selfie of me at this lake we went to. There's the name of the lake, Laguna of the Devil or something like that. Another selfie. This is a picture of the bus that was styled to look like a train. They do have steam trains in this town. We'll have that in tomorrow's video. And there's a picture the guy took of me. The tour guide took this picture.
So this is the room that we have here in Ushuaia. Got whatever this is. Got a decent sized storage closet here. Bathroom. Big tub with all that good stuff. That looked like hell traveling for 2 days. Little TV room. And that is the view out of the room, if you can believe that. You even have a little kitchenette. Not that I need that. And then here's the room. Here's the bed. Big closet. And got a safe. We like that. And this is a pretty nice room. I didn't even notice when I was in here a minute ago. There's a bidet. Go figure.
Okay, that afternoon after getting into the hotel, I had a boat tour scheduled. Here's the inside of the boat. It was a fairly good sized catamaran, typical tourist type boat. There I am inside the boat. And here I am on the back of the boat. You can see the Norwegian Star in the distance along with the mountains around Ushuaia as we left the city. And yet another selfie. My girlfriend likes it when I take selfies. And there's the star again as we were leaving. So this is the first little island that we stopped at on the tour, and the birds on these islands may look like penguins, but they are actually cormorants. They're relatives of the penguins, but they have a little bit longer necks and they are able to fly. But I was pleased that I was able to get some decent pictures of them. There were gobs of them, as you can see. Just lots and lots of cormorants on this little rock of an island in the Beagle Channel. And here we are approaching this little island with the lighthouse on it. I believe they said it's the southernmost lighthouse in the world. And of course, had to get a selfie of me and the lighthouse. Another picture of the lighthouse. And this island also had a good number of cormorants on it, as you can see here. And also here, but if you look a little more closely, what you think are big brown rocks are in fact sea lions. Tons of sea lions on this little island. And they were hollering at each other and just laying up there on the rocks, as sea lions tend to do. There's another bird of some kind. I think that's cormorant again. And there's some more sea lions.
Tremenda esa foto. Perfecta, hermosa. ¿Vamos ustedes, chicos?
Okay.
And I did notice there was one bird that had perched itself way up on top of the lighthouse. I guess he considers himself the king of that particular island, and good for him. And we saw some penguins porpoising through the water. At least I think that's what they were. We saw a number of albatrosses along the way. They were kind of amusing to watch because they'd be chilling in the water and then the boat would come along and then they'd decide to fly away, and it takes them a fairly long runway, if you will, to get flying. They are a very large bird. There's a group of them. Then we arrived at this other island, and this is where we saw penguins. Gobs and gobs of penguins. There they are, just living their lives, being penguins, wondering what these tourists even care about them for, but they're just penguins. After the penguins, we had an almost 2-hour ride back to the port. And as we arrived in the port, the sun was setting over the mountains, and there's the Norwegian star. That evening, I ate at this fabulous restaurant that had these split lambs cooking over a wood fire. It was very good. Here in the next clip, you'll hear me giggling as they put the plate on my table. And that concluded my first full day in Ushuaia. I hope you enjoyed this video and the pictures that I took. It was a tiring day because I had to get up early and take the flight. It was almost a 3.5-hour flight from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia. And of course, I had to walk around town waiting for my hotel room to be ready. And then I got in the hotel room and then I went on the boat ride. But then I finally had a good dinner and was able to settle into my hotel room. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment penguin poop. It always makes me happy when I know people have watched the entire video. Until we meet again, may you avoid the Kraken and have fair winds and following seas. This has been a production of Cruising with Eric. Please like, share, and subscribe.